Alright, time for another draftphysics.com, debatephysics.com also. But again, the debate is mired in just nonsense. This is arguing with, flat earth. This is arguing with people who just don't even want to try to be fair or honest, and they're defending a premise that they should just be able to say, okay, whatever the truth is, this isn't the truth. It just isn't the truth that it takes 25 times the fuel to spin a motor 5 times as fast. It's just not the truth. And, you can logically understand that, there's no room for this idea that somehow you can make more energy merely by applying a force to a lighter object. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, he's going to keep defending it, and it's just so stupid. Alright, so I'll go back to the beginning. We'll just play this crap. Because, even the premises are they're just moronic.
The second attempt at this, because the first one, I lost my temper.
Yeah, I understand the feeling. Frankly, there's nothing to reconcile here. I mean, we are such different human beings. I have no respect at all for what you're doing. You're an asshole, just lying and cheating the truth wherever you can. It's so obvious. You did the fucking experiment. So let's just show the experiment. He did the fucking experiment. He already proved himself wrong. And, so there should be no argument. I mean, it's just idiotic. So he sat here and went to the trouble to, okay, because he was using the wrong kind of spring. He had to add a pre-weight to the spring to, make it obey Hooke's law. But he basically got it to obey Hooke's law perfectly, okay? Close enough anyway. So you apply one weight, let's just say 1 kilogram. The spring expands an amount. The amount it expands, okay, if I add a second kilogram, that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to add 1 more kilogram, and it does exactly the same thing it did the first time. It expands exactly the same amount, okay? And so you have twice the weight is twice the distance, or expansion we could say, of the spring. It's not 4 times. There's no 4 times the energy. I can't make things bounce back 4 times as much. All I can do is make 1 pound fly back, okay, move this velocity, this distance at a velocity. And I can make it move this distance at a velocity, or I can make it move this whole distance at twice the velocity if I use a one unit of mass. But that's all I can do. There's nothing else here. There's no quadratic increases. He proved it. What's this? What is this conversation about? I mean, the denial here is just crazy.
Try and keep calm. I've got a spring here, and it's horizontal to the surface of the Earth.
So I already pointed this out in the previous video. There's 2 kinds of force you can apply. An instantaneous force, that is a force that isn't regenerated. So you have a mass and a velocity, and that's all you have. You have no accelerator, you have no motor, you have no constant force. So the only difference between gravity and a rolling ball is the fact that, yes, gravity is applying a constant force, okay, where the rolling ball only has a certain amount of force, and that's all it has. Oh, shit.
And we're going to talk about the work in and the work out, the energy in and the energy out, regardless of gravity. Did you hear that?
So there's no point in saying regardless of gravity, because gravity provides you with a perfect, in the sense, experimental environment, in the sense that it does provide this incredibly consistent force. So as pointed out, there's my little blob of clay. There it is. The 1 blob of clay, okay, is 1 unit of mass, and gravity is going to give it a constant force, and I have to push against gravity to hold it up. And so when I release it onto a scale or a spring, what happens is it registers that constant force being applied to the mass. And every single, amount of clay of this size will produce exactly the same amount of spring expansion or compression. And that's its weight. And so if I have two of them, I go 2 units of expansion. If I have one of them, it's 1 unit of expansion. There is no quadratic increase in anything. There's absolutely zero evidence of any of this kinetic energy crap. You keep insisting that it's something everybody knows, yet there's no evidence. So that makes it just a cult. It's worse than a religion. Well, it's as bad as, okay? It's just unevidenced bullshit. And the fact that you all believe it isn't proof of anything. It just proves how stupid you are. How dupish you are that you believe stuff that you have no reason to believe. No evidence or reason. The only reason why you believe it is because they told you so.
Gary, gravity's got nothing to do with this now. Or momentum.
So you can't say or momentum when kinetic energy, your kx squared, is really mv squared, isn't it, moron? So the point is how can you say it's not about momentum when momentum is what kinetic energy is made out of? You have to have a mass and a velocity or you don't have any kinetic energy. Shithead.
We're talking about how a spring works according to science.
So we already know that that's Hooke's law within its range, okay? And so outside of the range it doesn't apply. But basically what a spring does, what a spring can do when it's properly calibrated, is it measures momentum. It measures mass and velocity. It measures weight. It measures pressure, which are all the same thing. Doing it this way isn't any different than doing it this way. Applying a constant force this way is the same thing as gravity's constant force this way. And there's no 4x on the scale. 2 units of mass, 2 units of compression, 2 units of energy.
If I extend this spring, I put work into it, I expend energy.
And you continue to do so, so you're applying a constant force to hold the spring. If you locked it with some sort of device, the device would be under stress. That is, the atoms in and molecules would be constantly being aggravated by the circumstance you're putting them in. They would be under stress. And so if you use a material that's a little bit flexible, you could even watch it. You could watch it over a day or over a week or over a month, and you could watch the stress of the spring's pressure bend or change the disposition of the material. The force is real. It has to be constantly applied to keep the spring in that condition.
And I let it go, and it does some work. It will push something to the left or move something. That's what we're talking about, horizontally. Right? Now you say that the energy you put in here to 1 unit of length of extension.
Yes, dropping 1 unit onto a scale. I put 1 unit of weight on the scale. I read on the scale a 1. I take a second, exactly the same object, and I put it next to this other object. Now I have 2 units. It reads 2. Doesn't read 4. Can't make 4. There are no 4s. If I put a third one on, there's no 9 units of energy. Oh, shit.
Is exactly the same as the work you put in or the energy you put in to get it to there.
Each one of those takes the same energy. So if you could provide the constant force to eliminate you having to do the work, and something else was doing the work of holding it at the first position, and something else does the work and holds it at the second position, and then you do the added work of moving it from the second position to the third position, you're only doing 1 unit of work.
Yeah, 2 units of extension. So that if we move it to there and let it go, we get 1 unit of work out. Or if we move it to there and let it go, we've only got 2 units of work out.
And that's what every bit of evidence indicates is all you're going to get, that there is no 4 units of energy that you can contrive to produce out of that spring. And if I moved it 3 pounds worth, 3 pounds is only going to be 3 times the energy of 1 pound. It's not going to be 9 times the energy of 1 pound.
Because the work we put in is 1, and then we carry on is 2. That's what I assert you say.
Right, and that's what your experiment proved. You proved it. You took a weight, you made the spring bend. Then you just added the same weight again, another unit of exactly the same weight. Gravity doesn't make one of them more energetic. It doesn't make one of them more heavy. And what did the spring do? It compressed again, expanded again the same amount of distance. Obviously, the same force was added.
And you have to say that, actually. Because the truth is, logically, intuitively.
So this is nonsense talking about intuition, right? Intuition is what your collective knowledge of experience tells you, okay? But it doesn't necessarily, in every case, we know that the real logic is in understanding the variables of every single one of these experiments and understanding the difference between idealizations and practical reality. And so logic has to be qualified by enough experience to realize it's not necessarily as simple.
Instinctively.
No, there's no instincts involved at all.
And every other bloody league you can find. But the work I put in to get it to here
is exactly twice the work. Twice. Well, I mean, obviously, by the way you're doing this, right? You have 2. The 2 is really just 1, okay? This is so we can't even set this thing up so it looks normal. So this is the 0 here. This is 1 unit of work, and then it'll be the second unit of work.
Must.
What's this? Must
be increased to get it to here.
Yeah, exactly twice. Twice the weight. Where did I say anything other than that? Yes, to compress the spring 2 units of distance requires 2 units of force. You're supposed to be proving it takes 4 units of force, moron. Oh, fuck.
I can feel the increase in force.
Yeah, it's 2 units. 2. You can't feel 4. Can you feel it being 4 times as much work? Is that what you're saying? You know it's 4 times as hard? You know the difference between, you can feel the difference between twice as hard and 4 times as hard? And then if you do it 3 times the weight, you're telling me that when something weighs 3 pounds, you know it really weighs 9 pounds? You can feel its 9-poundness? It's hidden 9-poundness? It's really 9 pounds worth of energy? Oh, fuck, you can. I mean, it's just so stupid. I mean, you pick up 4 pounds, you know it's 1 pounds. It doesn't feel like it's 16 times harder to lift. It's not 16 times harder to lift 4 pounds. No, it's 4 times harder. Oh, 3 times harder, frankly.
I'm using. But again, you say that is the same as that.
Yes, exactly. You did the experiment and proved it was the same. The same exact mass was put on. The same exact mass did the same exact change in the spring. Fuck. Now, obviously, if you are applying the constant force, that is, you have to apply a constant force to constantly push 2 units of energy, yes, it's going to feel like twice the work. Twice, not 4 times, just twice. It's going to feel like 2 pounds. Let's say if the first movement of the spring was 1 pound of pressure, the second compression of the spring is going to be 2 pounds of pressure. It's not going to feel any different than twice as heavy. It's not going to feel 4 times as heavy. You have to prove it's 4 times as heavy, moron. Oh, God damn it.
And forget Hooke's law now.
No, there's no forgetting it. It's a real concept that you just proved, you idiot. I mean, does the experiment proves it, and then you say, let's forget about it. Blah, 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 blah.
Forget that gravity, forget that.
There is absolutely no reason to forget the experiments. There's no reason to, and again, the simple argument in gravity is that it provides a really nice medium that provides a very consistent thing. 1 pound always weighs 1 pound. It doesn't weigh 10 pounds. It doesn't weigh something else. It always weighs 1 pound, 1 pound, 1 pound, 1 pound. Gravity works really well. So you can sit there and do this simple experiment. You can put 1 pound on the scale and say, there, I have 1 unit of energy stored in the spring. And I can put a second one on, and I know I've just added 1 unit. Gravity only gives this 1 unit. It only gave this 1 unit of pressure, weight. I only have 2 units of weight. I only have 2 units of energy. I can't change how much energy this has. All this has is 1. I put another one on, I have 2. That's all I have. I can't secretly think there's 4 hidden in there. That one of them made 3, and the other one was only 1 bit of energy, but the other one was 3 units of energy by magic.
I wish you was here or in a video link. Well, probably safer in a video link, because at least I.
Well, what's the point? Why? What is there to argue here? You're saying that you have 0 evidence for what you're arguing for. You proved with your own experiment what you're saying is nonsense. That twice the weight is only twice the weight. It's only twice the force. You proved it, for fuck's sake.
Couldn't throttle you. Stick to what I'm saying. Mechanically, the work I'm putting into there, you say, is exactly the same energy to carry on to get it to there.
Exactly. That's exactly what you proved. 1 kilogram went this, 1.3, whatever stupid number you were using. And then you added another 1.3 and the spring did the same thing. Yeah, because it's the same work.
And everybody out there, even your own supporters, can see that that's false.
What's false? That 2 pounds is twice as much as 1 pound. That's false? Oh, God damn. I mean, it's just, you're just saying, if this, if this is the form of the argument, I mean, like I said, I'd be better off arguing with an absolutely retarded 6-year-old or 7-year-old. What's the point of this? Is so irrational.
They haven't got to be doing this. They can just instinctively know that they're not the same energy.
Okay. It takes twice the energy to move the spring twice as far. I never said anything different. Twice.
How can it be? How can that be the same as that?
It's not the same. It's obviously twice the weight will produce exactly that. 1 weight will produce this. 2 mass will produce that. There's no quadratic effect anywhere. No evidence of anything quadratic happening. Nothing. 2 units of mass, 2 units of energy.
When the force is increasing, every little increment of distance, the force increases.
Okay, so he's saying it's harder to move the spring. And the fact is, no, it isn't. And his own experiment proved that it isn't. It isn't any harder. It's just that if you have to apply the force to keep it, you're moving it to this location, and now you have to keep pushing that force plus adding force. So you have to add this constant force. But if something else was already holding that, then this would feel the same as this. So if something pulls the spring and holds it for you at this position, and now all you have to do is push it this way, that's going to feel the same.
So if I did that, it was 1 unit of energy, and if I did that was 2 units of energy, we would get 2 units of energy out.
But that's all you're going to get. That's right. So I just don't know, you know, let's see. There's, again, you have to understand the difference between the impulse and constant forces. So again, if you know, if you're not going to make those distinctions and recognize that, yes, you have to be applying a constant force going this way. So you have a motor pushing this way that's going 1 horsepower, and that stays on. And then you add the second motor going 1 horsepower. So you don't have to do the work the first motor's doing. But if you have to do both things, if there is no first motor constantly moving at 1 horsepower, then you have to provide 2 horsepowers worth of energy. So yes, to push the spring to twice the compression will feel like twice the work. Twice. Not 4 times, twice.
It's not. I put 1 unit of energy in there, and then I put much more to get it to there, obviously.
Okay, he kept saying obviously, and it's his own experiment proved it's not much more. He puts the same exact weight on, and the second compression happens. Same exact mass moves the spring the same exact distance. That's Hooke's law, and he's just ignoring it.
You haven't got to have any proof. Intuitively, you know that. Because the full...
So, just more horse shit. Obviously, you have to have proof. This is an argument about experiments and evidence, and obviously you don't have any.
Force is increased from there to there. Much more than it was from there to...
Twice as much. Again, you keep saying much more. Where did you measure the much more? If you put another spring, a scale over here to measure how much force it takes, you'll find out that, oh, it takes exactly twice as much force. Not 4 times as much force, just twice as much force. To move the spring to where it would go if you put 2 pounds on it in gravity, right, is 2 pounds of force. It's not 4 pounds of force.
There. So I've got to put in more effort.
So again, it keeps saying more effort. More what? More than 2 times? More than twice the effort? What more effort?
More energy to extend the distance to double the amount. Therefore, the represented double the amount of... It's going to be much more than twice the work.
So prove it. Show me it's much more. Show how the force is more. So put a spring on there and measure how much force it takes to move that spring to twice the distance. And again, you'll find out that, oh yeah, it's twice the force. It's twice the weight. That's all. You're not gonna prove it's 4 times the energy to move the spring twice as far. You're not gonna devaluate. You're not gonna prove Hooke's law not applicable, except by cheating. Again, except by using springs in ways they aren't supposed to be used.
How it has to be for conservation of energy. How could you keep denying this?
Now, denying what? So again, what did he show here that I'm denying? What? Where did he show any indication that it's 4 times the energy to move the spring twice as far? He's saying it overtly, that to move the spring 2 units of distance is 4 times the energy. Well, where in any case did he ever show that to be true? And isn't the first experiment he did, where he used gravity and he put the weights on, didn't he absolutely prove that, yes, it's just 1 unit of energy, and then he adds another same exact unit of energy. 2 units of energy. So all he added, 2 compressions of the spring. What a liar. It's just, you got to be a liar to pretend these arguments haven't been made and you don't understand. Oh, fuck you.
You say, again, recapitulate. You say that the work done to get the spring to there, to let it go and do something.
1 unit of energy. That is weight or momentum. Momentum and weight are the same thing. Again, I'll make the argument. I can make the scale move by banging something into it. I can measure its momentum And the measurement of its momentum is exactly the same as measuring its weight. Same exact goddamn thing.
It's half of what it is to get to there, to let it go and do something.
Yes, that's right.
Science says that the work that...
No, it doesn't. So again, you're lying to say that science says any of this crap. So I don't even think physicists will even touch this. There's no way they're going to argue that Hooke's law means there's 4 times the energy and twice the compression of a spring. So you can say science says, but they don't say it. They avoid this whole fucking subject. That's why they haven't done any of these experiments. It's because they can't do them. Because they're paradoxical nonsense. Their theory doesn't make any sense. That's why they don't do the experiments, because it doesn't work.
Under there, to let it go and do something, must be increased now to get it to go to there.
So he says it again, must be increased. Yeah, twice as much. Twice the weight, twice the expansion of the spring. Not 4 times the weight, twice the weight.
Yeah, it's not double. It's much more than double.
So he said it again. It must be. It's much more. I know it. I'm saying so. I have absolutely zero evidence, and my previous experiment proved exactly the opposite. So the previous experiment he did proved exactly the opposite of what he's saying, and yet he's going to just keep asserting this. Amazing.
Because the force is increasing all the time on the spring. And that's all I was doing with the weights. I was representing the force required to move the weights.
And you're not dealing with the fact that the weights you have to apply an impulse force. You're applying a constant force and then stopping. Right? So they're not on a spring, they're not on anything. It's not applicable in any way. So what's the point of it?
Representing the spring.
The weight doesn't mean anything horizontally, as you just pointed out, right? Except for its momentum that it creates, because it's not getting a constant force. So you're not saying anything.
Being extended, nothing to do with rates dropping and falling and momentum. How you twisted it all, typically.
I didn't twist anything. You're just a lying sack of the smelliest, dirtiest, ignorant shit. Again, you just prove what scum human beings are. You just have no integrity. You have zero evidence. You've had 350 years to establish any of this crap to be true, and you haven't done it. Your science has completely failed to do any of these experiments in a credible manner. And I could go back to the Deschardelet denting clay with round objects and thinking that was a linear measurement. I could go back to the lever argument and pointing out that, well, if people aren't going to account for the fact that their lever is heavier than the weights they're moving, then that's not going to work. I mean, every single one of these experiments is, you can see that the taint and the corruption and we just want it to look like the truth. It doesn't have to be the truth. It's disgusting.
Again, you say the work done to get the spring to there is the same as now.
No, I'm saying that it takes twice the energy to move it twice the distance. So that's just bullshit. But yes, each unit of movement is the same amount of work. The same amount of force will create both of those circumstances as long as there's a constant force negating the first motion. So if you put the one mass on and hang it from the spring, and now the spring has a compression, and then you put the 2 mass on, well, obviously the 1 mass has already done this work, and so now this compression, is all you're going to be doing. You're going to be adding. And then you can give it back the same way. You can take the 1 mass off, and then the 1 mass will go back to this location. It won't go all the way back to 0. Yeah. So you'll get back what you put in. You put 2 units in, you get 2 units out.
Now carrying on, get it to there. That distance is just twice the work to get it to that distance.
Right, exactly.
Anybody, surely. Please, somebody, one of your supporters, please.
So twice the weight. Again, he's saying that when something weighs twice as much, it does that to a spring. And he's saying that somehow when you lift something that's twice as heavy, it really feels like it's 4 times as heavy. That's what he's saying to you. That they all know it. They all know it because 2 pounds feels like 4 pounds. And 4 pounds feels like 16 pounds. And 16 pounds feels like 379 pounds. Bullshit!
Argue with me or tell me they don't accept this. I'd like to hear from some other bloody idiot other than you.
Yeah, fuck you.
That to there is one you...
Just talk to one of your friends. You want an idiot? They're all idiots. So, yeah. You should have no problem finding an idiot in your audience.
Work. That is, of course, more than 1 unit of work to get.
So, again, he says it. Yes, it's 2 units the way you're doing it because there's no weight previously put on. So you're basically applying 2 pounds of pressure. But it's 2 pounds of pressure. It's not 4 pounds of pressure. It's only 2 pounds of pressure. For fuck's sake.
There. I'm putting more force in. More
Yeah, twice.
energy is being expended. Enough.
Oh, it's way past enough. I mean, I just can't believe he's made 4 videos now, 5 videos trying to defend this nonsense that is his own experiment proved. His own experiment. So what video is this? This is 2 days ago. I just hate this stupid autoplay shit.
The second attempt at this because the first one.
Hate it. All right, now let's see if the comments show here. There's only 2, 7 it says. Okay. All sub comments. So Dick Woodman, I guess, yeah, really. He says you're pulling the spring at an angle. What are you talking about? There's a parallax problem with the camera, so it's not being pulled horizontal. So these people really don't believe that there is such a thing as badly filmed experiments. All right, there's no point in reading it. He descends into yet another deeper delusion. So again, the deep delusion is that 2 pounds feels like 2 pounds. Lifting 2 pounds feels just like lifting 2 1-pound weights. That's what it feels exactly like. Amazing that I have to defend that 2 pounds feels like 2 pounds. It doesn't feel like 4 pounds. It feels like 2 pounds. Let's see. I don't know how he can deny this. Deny what? It's just amazing. You say so. You say 2 pounds feels like 4 pounds. And that 4 pounds feels like 16 pounds. That's your assertion. You all know it to be true. Amazing. It is quite amazing what level his denial will stretch to. It certainly has a squared function in it. Yeah, so, just nonsense. Let's see what these... I mean, the Sean Walker guy is not even worth listening to. Let's see. I predict his answer will be as straight as that spring. So I don't even know what that even means. The spring is coiled. I guess that's what he means. Yeah, all springs are. Although Goofy can run around in circles. Whatever that is. Ian made it clear and concise video demonstrating a logical analysis. So his own experiment proved exactly the opposite. It proved that all you need is 2 units of weight to make the spring move twice the distance. there's just nothing here. Force vector diagrams can get very complicated. Think alone a diagram throwing a tennis ball against a wall and your hands are above your feet, so you must be angles at work. Oh, geez, what an idiot. Anyway. So that has absolutely nothing to do with this statement of Gosling. So Gosling is overtly saying that to compress a spring twice the distance requires something more than twice the force, even though his own experiment showed that twice the force is all you need. 2 units of gravitational acceleration will do it. Yet, he says it's actually 4 units of gravitational acceleration through some magical process where this weighs 1 unit of energy. It's 1 unit of energy. And then this, exactly the same thing, somehow is 3 units of energy when I put it on the scale. No, it isn't. Absolute nonsense. So anyway, this is such a waste of time. Like I said, this is so pathetically bad. I would expect more reasonable analysis from, 5th graders. 5th graders could do better than this shit. So anyway, till the next time and such, but just so bad. There's just no people have become impervious to reason, logic, facts, honesty. That's the big one. They're just so dishonest. I mean, he should at least be willing to acknowledge his physics hasn't done the experiments. They don't have any real data or proof. And, that all of this really should be well documented. And he won't even concede that. So in this context, he's just arguing like a mullah. He's just a fanatic, jihading religious kook.